Welcome to a new watercolor lesson. I am Vanidas Mangathil. In this video, we will be painting this warm imaginary watercolors. This is a real-time demonstration video and I will be explaining the entire process from start to finish. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and press the bell notification. Each of these videos takes a lot of effort and your support will be of tremendous motivation to me to create more and more these kind of watercolor lessons. So let's get into the video. We will begin with a simple drawing of an idea. I'm going to make it very simple and let us make it in a landscape mode with a couple of clouds at the top, right? And maybe it's a little bit of a water body at the bottom. So that is what my idea is. There is a piece of water body, some distant land and some clouds. So that is the overall idea. And maybe I'm planning we will have a boat, maybe a boat somewhere around the right side, maybe somewhere here, maybe here maybe we will have a boat. Okay, so a boat and a couple of people. I'm not sure whether I will add another boat or so, and it all depends upon how it turns out once we start the coloring. So a lot of decision I wish to take depending upon how the paper turns out once we proceed with the washes and all. It's an imaginary watercolor, so it doesn't really matter if we really need to stick to this particular drawing or not. This is a starting point. The drawing is a starting point. Okay, we might do a little bit of alteration going ahead with the painting, right? I think we are pretty much done, and we will go to the drawing on the watercolor paper. So here the drawing is very limited. I will be just making a line which is sort of separating the water and the sky. Okay, so that is the kind of drawing that I will do. I am not planning to draw the boat also, because the positioning of the boat I will probably would like to retain the freedom to define it later. Okay, and I am starting with a warm wash. So I am using an Indian handmade watercolor paper. It's a cold pressed watercolor paper around 300 GSM. So any cold pressed watercolor paper 300 GSM would be suitable for this particular painting, right? So I am using a little bit of warm yellow color, mostly raw sienna, and around the horizon I am applying this particular color. It's a very pale wash, as you can see from my palette. It's very pale, adding little bit of an orange to get a little bit of a warmer version of it, maybe. Yeah. So I'm using a mop brush. It's a natural hair mop brush, and the brand of brush that I'm using is Raphael. You can use any mop brush which is reasonably big. Try to get reasonably big brushes for these kind of large washes. Okay, so I am using scarlet red at the top. So the idea is to get some kind of a gradation of colors. So at the top it is very much red, and then it is slightly getting into a little bit of orange. Okay, and then getting into yellows. So basically from red to yellow I am sort of creating a gradation, and it is not a very smooth gradation, and I am expecting in this case that a lot of these red colors or orange colors will bleed down, because the bottom around the horizon it is already wet. So we are applying paint on top of it, so some of the red colors or orange colors will bleed down. And as I am coming to the lower side of the paper, that means as I am coming towards the foreground, okay, I am adding the same thing, little bit of darker red, and I am also adding some violet color to make it little bit more darker at the nearby area. Basically the bottom of the paper is the nearby area to us, because that represents the closest land area, land or water, whatever it is. So now this is the base coat for the for the sky, and we can now define little bit of darker clouds, and I want this also to be a reddish color. So red and violet I am mixing, little thicker consistency as you have seen, and suggestion of some clouds. Okay, some random shapes. Just paper is wet, the consistency of the paint is little thicker, maybe a little creamy consistency, I would say. I am using a soft calligraphy type brush. Any soft round brush should be good enough. Okay, you don't have to really worry about specific brand of the brush, specific size of the brush. You can pick up the size which is convenient to you. You can pick up the brand which is available with you, and most likely it is your confidence or your practice that matters rather than the actual brand of the brush. It might make some difference, but it is not that important, I would say. Here also I wanted to suggest some of the darker colors. I mean, the idea is that it should somehow resemble or create an illusion of the reflection of the top sky. So the top of the sky is darker, so I want the bottom of the water also is as a little darker, so that it sort of indicates the reflection for the sky. Okay, I think we are pretty much done now. This is still very wet, so I wanted to avoid further bleeding of the colors down to the horizon, so I am keeping the painting upside down, and after a while I am putting it back. So some portion of the video is removed, the waiting period. So now it is a little bit dry, it is not fully dry yet. So but the bleeding will now, I mean, I wanted to avoid a lot of bleeding, so that is the reason I kept it upside down and then brought it back. It is still wet, so I wanted to lift out some of the colors, but my brush wasn't clean, so I had to clean my brush, and with a damp brush I am taking out the colors. I am planning to take out the colors. So when we say damp brush, the brush is cleaned well and excess water is taken out with a tissue paper. So the brush is just damp, so some of the colors I am just lifting out from the paper. The paper, as I told, is still a little bit wet, it is damp basically, and some mild rubbing or lifting out with tissue paper. The idea is I wanted to show some of those warm skies in between the clouds, because the clouds have merged a lot. Some of these yellowish sky can be seen through. I don't want to make it too complex or too much detailed. Little bit here and there. I think I'll be stopping here. See, the problem is, the moment you start doing this, you may have a tendency to keep on doing this, and beyond a point, if you do this, it will spoil. Your work will get spoiled. So I think I'm already doing it. I'm already overdoing it. So I have to probably control it. Okay, stop. I am maybe some light, play of light at the horizon. Yeah, I think I am done now. I have to stop it. Okay, so it is dry now. now it is fully dry, so we can define a little bit of a piece of land around the horizon. So I am mixing those red, orange and violet colors. Okay, I think I need a little bit more orange here around the area where most of the light is hitting, so I want some warm colors. Okay, and some sort of dry brushwork. Okay. Okay. It is soft brush, and the colors are reasonably dry. That means it is not very watery. And we have to keep the lower end of this distant land as a straight line, because the lower end of the land is nothing but the top edge of the water, and top edge of water looks good if it is horizontal. So a little bit of a correction there maybe. Yeah, I think that's it. If you like this kind of demonstration, and if you think you are finding some value in this kind of tutorials, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell notification icon so that you get notified for all my future videos. And also please do drop some comments of what you think, what can be improved, and if you want to suggest some topic for inclusion for the future videos, please drop all those suggestions or inputs in the comments. So I will surely take and do the best that I can to address your comments. Okay. I think now the distant land and the reflection seems good enough. There is some contrast there. I think the top of the land looks a little flat. I need to make some correction for the top of the land probably. Let me think if that is required, because the reflection and the object above water, the reflection in water and the object that is creating the reflection, they should have some kind of sort of a symmetry, or it should look like a mirror image. So there are some shapes that you can see in the reflection, so some similar shape should be there for the piece of land above. So I'm just trying to create a match between the reflection and the object. I think this is reasonably okay. We are done most. I'm splashing some water to create some texture. Some droplets of water will fall on the newly painted area, and it will create some texture. Some amount of colors I am trying to lift out, and the idea is to create some sense of soft edges or some play of light happening at some point. It's always a good idea to keep some hard edges and some soft edges. Okay, so try to get some variations always. Variations in terms of the tones, variations in terms of hard and soft edges, variations in terms of colors also. Making it a little softer there also. Again, we have to reduce this overdoing. I am also showing some tendency of overdoing, so we should reduce it. I am extremely sorry that a couple of minutes video wasn't properly saved in the camera. So the base painting of the boats and the base reflections were just missed capturing. I still thought of continuing with the video because you can see some of my other videos where I have shown you, explained you how to create the boats and reflection. You may go and check those videos if you have any doubt in this area. But I still am continuing because there are a lot of things I can explain for the rest of the video. Okay, so I'm suggesting some ripples with some light warm colors. Okay, so there is no specific pattern or any specific shape for this reflection. We have to keep in mind the perspective, because these ripples, basically I'm suggesting the ripples, not reflections. Okay, the shape of the ripples also will undergo the concepts of perspective. The ripples nearby is likely to be larger, and the ripples farther away may get smaller, right? We need to get it dry before adding anything on the boat, because the next step that I think we should do is adding some figures to the boat. So I'm starting with the smaller boat because the land portion for the land portion above is dry for this. Just suggesting some figures. Okay, suggesting figures is little tricky, and you may find it really difficult. I'm zooming it to show what I'm doing, because otherwise it is too tiny for you to see it if I show the entire painting. And here one guy is standing and maybe a couple of guys are sitting. It is too tiny, I would say, but these are it's a big landscape or waterscape. You cannot make these figures much bigger. They should match with the overall the idea or the story of the painting. Again, one guy is standing and probably controlling the boat, rowing the boat, and I'm using a little thicker consistency paint. Okay, the paint is little violet and burnt sienna. Okay, and maybe a little bit of blue also. And I'm using a small pointed round brush for this. Okay, so except for the initial wash, for all the detail works I use round brush, pointed round brush, which is synthetic. Okay, because synthetic will have little bit of more tension, more spring action, and little bit of they tend to retain the point better. So you will get more control with the synthetic brushes. So I'm using synthetic brush. So I think we have sufficient people there. We need to suggest some reflections for those people and the pole, etc. And the reflection is usually a mirror reflection for the object above, and since water has ripples, the reflections will be sort of broken. Okay, it won't be continuous. It is not a mirror. The surface is little disturbed, so the reflection will be distorted. Okay, right. So don't overdo it, because reflection is another thing that we can very quickly overdo. I think we are getting pretty close to the finish. As I told again, if you have any suggestions for improvement, or if you think I need to explain a little bit more, or I need to cover certain other areas, please do let me know in the comments. Your comments, your shares, your likes will be big motivations for me to make more and more videos. This takes a lot of effort, as I told earlier, and it is my sincere effort to convey as much information as possible. So I would appreciate any likes, comments, shares that you make for this particular video. Okay, these are some very small highlights so that these figures get popped up. It gets more attention. That's it. Okay, so I think we are finishing now. These touches are directly from the tube. The colors are directly picked from the tube without diluting it, and it is watercolor, it's not gouache. Okay, that's it, and I will call it as done by making these final touches, and I'm signing it now. So you should know when to stop also, because if you keep on adding it, you might spoil the work. So thank you so much for watching my video, and this is the area of interest that I wanted to create, and this also. Okay, that is the secondary element. Overall it creates a good interest. That is what I feel. Thank you very much. I feel that it was informative to you, so we'll see you in the next video.